Good evening. Hope everyone's Saturday's going alright. Well, this makes a nice change on a Saturday night. For once, we get to see some action from the other side of the Atlantic at prime time in the UK. Time is now 10 to 10 p.m. and the Sakio Bika versus Adonis Stevenson fight has literally finished. So, what have we learned from this fight compared to what we knew from before the fight? We've learned that Sakio Bika really hasn't got the required strength or the required power to compete at light heavyweight. We've learned that Sakio Bika we already knew Sakio Bika had a good chin, but it has now been confirmed Sakio Bika has a good chin. Did we learn anything more about Stevenson? Kind of. Anyway, let's just quickly rush back to my pre-fight prediction just for a second, when I basically explained why I think Adonis Stevenson is a little bit overrated and a little bit overhyped in some respects. Now, this fight, what I was going on about was after the Fonfara fight last year, with someone who has a lot more experience. If Bika could have took the early round damage from the big punches and then maybe really applied the pressure and pushed Stevenson back in the middle to later rounds, then Bika could have have given Stevenson a lot of problems. Maybe have actually beaten Stevenson, unlike Fonfara, having had the extra experience of the guys that Bika has obviously shared the ring with. Now, it's just a shame that Bika's power, not that he really had any at super middleweight, but it's a shame that he didn't really have any power at all to even so much as bother Adonis Stevenson. Adonis Stevenson doesn't look like he's even broken sweat in there. Didn't look really phased at anything Bika threw at him at all. Now, the reason I say this is because if Bika had got more power and more strength, then I believe Bika could have beaten Stevenson. But just quite simply, if you can't hurt your man, you're not going to win. Couldn't keep Stevenson off him. Let's just talk. Scorecard wise, I've got my little notepad here. I don't think you can really give Bika any share of a round except round 1 and round 12. Now, the reason I say that is round 1, nothing really happened. It was a very quiet round, and I don't think you can really necessarily score that round for definite either way. And round 12, Stevenson just spent half the round showboating rather than actually doing anything in terms of boxing, and did actually get caught with some pretty clean shots, although, like I say, just pretty much walked through them like he did all fight. So in terms of this fight, we know Bika's not light heavyweight. Stevenson, I might be taking away something by saying that Bika didn't really have the power to trouble him, because I was quite impressed with the way Stevenson paced himself tonight, especially through the earlier mid rounds. Although he wasn't really putting any pressure, but I was impressed with the way he paced himself. And the one thing that I take from this fight more than anything else is, as much as I want to see a Stevenson in with Sergei Kovalev, with the way Stevenson fought tonight, it will be very interesting to see Stevenson in with Jean Pascal. So I would very much like to see that fight next before maybe a Kovalev fight later this year. Because I do think Kovalev's a more spiteful finisher than Stevenson is, because there's many times in that fight tonight when Stevenson could have committed himself more and could have gone for the stoppage, but didn't really have the belief or the conviction to do so. Or maybe not the belief, that's a bad word, but didn't have the conviction to do so. Didn't want to get stupid. Didn't want to give a reason for Bika to hit him, which is understandable. So I'd like to see Jean Pascal versus Stevenson next. I think that would be a very, very interesting fight. Two southpaws that can bang. I do think Jean Pascal would have the power to back Stevenson up. As we saw, Jean Pascal did, not necessarily stun, but sting Kovalev a couple of times and have his moments against Kovalev. in that 7-round encounter a couple of weeks ago. So just a quick one to round off then. It's a shame Bika didn't have much more power and couldn't really push Stevenson back. But it was a good fight and I enjoyed it. Maybe could have been a bit more explosive from Stevenson's point of view, but I'm sure he'll just take the 12-round decision win and move on and upwards in the world. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Please subscribe. So.